Just how can I put this in a nice way? He can sit and swivel. Let's begin. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but it does often quite seem that when people have just a little bit of power, they're happy for a little bit, and then suddenly they want a bit more, and then more. Now it seems as if the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is doing his best Oliver Twist impression, saying, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" And I say that because according to this article, it says that the Mayor is poised to ask the government for powers that will allow him to regulate the capital's rent market, the Telegraph understands. I mean, yeah, why not? Because let's face it, he's actually done a brilliant job with Transport for London, isn't he? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's made an absolute balls up over the years. And if anything, has more than likely been asking the government for more money to bail him out of that. Because let's face it doesn't seem like he's doing a very good job at all, eh? But just how and what is he going to do with the rental market? Well, it says that Sadiq Khan is plotting to impose rent controls in London in a move that would slash landlords' incomes by thousands of pounds a year. Now, obviously, if you're a tenant, you might think to yourself, oh, good. Hopefully that means my rent won't be going up in future by much at all. But the thing is, what you're not considering by thinking that is that if you impose rent controls on landlords, that's more than likely going to make people think, I don't really want to become a landlord, and would either possibly make some withdraw from the market altogether, potentially at the same time stressing their tenants out on who the new landlord might be and how much their rent might go up by if they've had it quite low for a number of years. Or second, it may even stop people joining the market altogether, which surely would create some sort of supply and demand issue, whereas as there's not much houses about, that would surely push up the prices for everyone in the long run, not just for the tenants of presumably the one or two greedy landlords out there, which is the last thing I'm sure everyone needs, especially when, of course, there could potentially be a housing shortage in general, because let's face it, all the illegal boot people coming over here from the safe country of France, especially when, of course, remember, but after January next year, they will no longer be housing illegal migrants, asylum seekers, in the Beppy Stockholm. And let's face it, they've got to go somewhere, haven't they? And as Keir Starmer has been pretty tight-lipped on when his border command, or whatever you want to call it, will actually start, other than, of course, from what I remember saying, he'll give £84 million to other countries to help them out, to keep their people there, or something like that. I don't really see much happening in the meantime. But anyway, it comes after competition for private rented housing in London remains fierce, with an average tenant paying, wait for this, £2,086 per month, according to official figures, which admittedly, yes, I know you probably have to pay about a tenner for a cup of coffee in London compared to the rest of England. However, that still is quite a sizable chunk on anyone's money, surely, especially if that is for the average tenants, and therefore could only mean that there'll be much more expensive properties out there, which more than likely, at some point in time, mark my words, might be given to one of these illegal boot people. I mean, I could be wrong, but they got to stay somewhere, haven't they? Even, of course, when no doubt that would massively pee off the rest of us people who actually have to pay our rent, eh? But don't worry, because there might be a safety net. It does say that Parliament would be required to pass laws to give the Mayor the necessary powers to regulate prices set by private landlords. And of course, Mr. Khan has been pushing for greater powers since 2016, a move rejected by the Conservative government. It just seems like he's never happy, doesn't it? Maybe, who knows, he won't be happy until one day he might be Prime Minister. Which, thinking about it, I hope I didn't actually give him an idea. Though, admittedly, I'm guessing that was probably on his mind, or has been for quite some time. It wouldn't surprise me at all. The thing is, though, it doesn't actually stop with Sadiq Khan here, because it does say that Labour itself has signalled that it would be open to introducing some rent controls. And Prime Minister Keir Starmer, or Keir Starlin as quite a lot of people call him nowadays, told voters that during the election debate in May, we have to stop the landlords ripping off tenants who are doing this bidding war. We can pass legislation to say you can't do it because it's driving rents up through the roof. And we have a scheme to put in place to stop them from driving the rent up and up and up. And the Chancellor has also suggested that she would be in favour of local authorities being given the power to cap rents. And whilst, of course, as a tenant myself, I don't really like the thought of my rent going up. My rent went up in April from £725 to a whopping £875, which admittedly for Londoners is nothing, but from whereabouts I am, that is quite a big jump, especially considering my normal day job where I only get about 20p above the minimum wage. But of course, if rent controls are put in place, it has to be fair, where it wouldn't actually spook any landlords. And I don't know if it's just me, but I just really don't think Sadiq Khan would actually get that, and possibly might let the power go to his head just a little bit, eh? And if, of course, given the green light, the Mayor plans to establish a commission to develop rent control plans that are tailored to London. However, a government spokesperson said that there were no plans whatsoever to devolve rent control powers, so hopefully if it does come in, Sadiq Khan will be told something like, no, you just keep managing your London Underground and we'll do all that. It even says here that in 2023, Mr. Khan proposed freezing rents for 2 years in the capital and pledged to lobby ministers for rent controls during his latest re-election campaign. Now, obviously, if you're a tenant, freezing rent sounds great, but obviously if you're a landlord and your mortgage interest rate has gone up and up and up, especially as over the last few years, then that, if anything, could cause you quite a lot of problems, and may even mean that you'd have to sell your house because you couldn't potentially afford the new mortgage. Which is obviously then when it would start to spook the landlords in general, eh? And therefore, surely out of those two things, a yearly cap would probably be the fairest option. All dependent, of course, on how much that cap is. I mean, you can't have it only 1% or 2%. It has to be realistic. Something which is both fair for the landlords and for the tenants. And get this, Ian Fletcher of the British Property Federation, a property body, said, I suspect the Mayor will continue to ask for rent control powers, but it does not change the fundamentals that rent controls create lasting damage to the private rented market, cutting supply, reducing investment, lowering the quality of homes, and worst of all, adversely impacting access to the sector for those who do not have a home. But just what is the solution to it then? Well, Neil Garrett, the leader of City Hall Conservatives, added, the most effective way to make renting and buying a home in London more affordable is by building more affordable homes, which hopefully, if Sadiq Khan decides to chuck a bit of the money that I'm guessing he's given towards that, then hopefully that might be a better way for everyone concerned, eh?